Alright, so we're going to solve this word problem that involves a perimeter of this painting. And what I've established right here is just a number of steps that you can kind of use as a guideline while you're going through the rest of these word problems for the rest of this chapter, actually. So let's go ahead and start with this guy. Alright, so Graham painted his famous work, American Gothic, in 1930. On composition board with perimeter of 108.44 inches. And if the painting is 5.54 inches taller than its width or is wide, find the dimensions of the painting. Okay, step one is to read the problem. Read it many times over if you need to. I mean, just because you read it one time doesn't mean that you got all the necessary information. But basically what you're looking for is what information is given to us. And what I personally like to do is I actually like to just jot down small notes of what I found, and not necessarily highlight it. I mean, you can, but like for example, like I know that this right here, I know that the perimeter is 108.44 inches. Now you could have just done this, if you copy down the whole problem, you could say, oh, it has a perimeter of 104.88. But I like to write it out. Okay, what information does this problem give me? And we also know that if the painting is 5.54 inches taller than its width. So this just gave us information about the width or the length? Well, it just gave us information about the length of it. Okay, because it's saying that the length, they didn't say particularly the length though. Well, and there's only two dimensions of an object, right? There's the width of an object, and then there's the length. Okay, so we're talking about this rectangle, and it says if the painting is, okay, right here, 5.4 inches taller than its width. So we don't know what the width is, but whatever this is, it's 5.4 inches more than that. So I'm just going to say that the length is 5.54 plus W. And I may have just kind of jumped the gun of like calling this a variable already, but basically whatever the width is, the length is 5.54 more. That's what this is saying right here. Okay. And so what we basically want to do after doing that is actually assign a variable. What is it that we don't know? And I kind of already started that right now. So we don't know the width. That's actually what we don't know. So I'm going to call the width W. Okay, I'm going to call the width W, and I'm going to call the length 5.54 plus W. Okay, because whatever the width is, you're going to add 5.54, and then that will give us the length. Okay, so I've kind of just done step one and step two, where we just assigned the variable. Now write an equation using the variable expression. So check this out. This is where we got to be creative now. How can we write an equation using the width, the length, and perimeter? Well, isn't it true that if this is the W, then this is also the W, or width, and this is also length? And does it make sense that, oh, if I add up all the sides of an object, that gives us the perimeter? So if I add W plus L plus W plus L, that would give me my perimeter. So 2W plus 2L, that's going to give me my perimeter. I think that makes sense right there. If I add both of my widths and both of my lengths, that's going to give me my perimeter. So now we can do some substitution. Okay, we don't know what W is, but we do have an expression for L. Look at L is 5 points. Get a different color. 5.54 plus W. I can replace that for L. You see? So now I'm going to replace L with that guy, and I can also replace the P with 108.44. So I have some substitutions. So notice what I'm doing right now. I'm going to write an equation, which I did, but now I need to substitute the values that I know. So I'm going to do 2W plus 2, but instead of writing L, I'm going to write the expression 5.54 plus W times 5.54 plus W. I want you to notice that I put that in parentheses because 2L means multiply. And because I'm multiplying a sum, I have to keep it in a group, and so that's why I do 5.54 plus W, and that's going to equal P, and my P is 108.44 inches right there. Okay, so now we have to just use our algebra skills now to solve for X, or actually in this case we're solving for W, because if you look back at what is it that we're trying to find, we're trying to find the dimensions of the painting. What is the length of our painting and what is the width? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to bring down my 2W plus, let's go ahead and multiply this guy right here. 2 times 2.54, 11.08 plus 2 times W plus 2W equals 108.4. My little thingamajigger is not working correctly. Let me try that again. It's equal to 108.44. Okay. 2W. All right, so let's go ahead and let's combine like terms here. So I'm going to have 4W. Okay, so I'm going to combine those guys. Plus 11.08 equals 108.44. And now let's just go ahead and go to town on this. Let's subtract 11.08 from both sides. Got that like it's cool. Yeah. So we can cross those guys out right there. And I'm left with 4W on the left side. On the right side, let's see, we'll have 97.36. Divide both sides by 4, and we get a width of 24.34. Okay, so we don't want to stop there, because if you look back here, find the dimensions of the painting. You always, when you go buy a painting, you buy a frame, you say, oh, okay, I want a painting that's 24 by 30 inches. So like you need to have the dimensions. So we only have one of the dimensions, the width. So let's find the length. Well, length we said was 5.54 plus W, right? Plus W, but we know what W is, right? W is 2.34 or 24.34. So I'm going to put 24.34. So my length then is going to be 29.88. So now let's state the answer. So our particular answer then is 24.34 inches by 29.88 inches. And that's usually the kind of way that you're going to say the answer as far as your dimensions of some kind of object here. If it's a rectangle, your length and width, or your width and length, but you just give your dimensions in inches right there. In step 5, it says right here, state the answer doesn't seem reasonable. And okay, well, how would you know if this seemed reasonable? Well, if you double this and if you double that, that should be pretty much 108. We're actually like, it will be 108, because that's what the formula is to find perimeter. So like if I double, let's just say this was 30, so 30 and 30 is 60, 24, say this is 25, so that's like 160, and 50 is about 110. So see how that's close to 108? Just by doing a little bit of mental math, we can check and say, you know what, yes, this answer does make sense. It's not like far out there like, okay, man, that's not even close to being 108. All right, and then you can check your answer by just doing this, by plugging in 2W plus 2L equals P. So sometimes you can plug in your width, plug in your length, and this right here is your 108.44, and then you just check that to see if the answer is correct.